Who needs enemies when you've got Su Yang? Sentenced to life for a laundry list of romantic indiscretions, he's now rubbing elbows with the universe's most notorious. But can he escape to reclaim his loves and find new ones? It took only 3 minutes for the muscle in Chiyu's left leg to completely loosen up. Like tofu, the sensation of her skin was smooth and soft in Su Yang's hands. I will now begin to extract the poison. Su Yang showed her a needle as small as a strand of hair in his hands. The pleasant expression on Chiyu's dazed face instantly froze at the sight of the needle. What are you going to sew with that? She asked with a horrified expression. Su Yang pointed at her left leg with a smile on his face. However, that handsome smile was more like the devil's grin in Chiyu's eyes. Wait, is that really the only way? How else am I going to extract the poison? He replied to her question with another question. Close your eyes. You won't even feel it. Chiyue hastily closed her eyes, but her body wouldn't stop trembling. Suddenly, a hand patted her head, giving her a sense of security and warmth, and her body stopped trembling. It was at this moment the needle between Su Yang's fingers flickered. A tiny hole that could not be seen with just the bare eyes opened up in Chiyu's left thigh, and some sort of white smoke began escaping through that hole, creating a small cloud of mist above her legs. The moment the mist appeared, Su Yang moved his lips towards the hole on her thighs without hesitation and began sucking. Wah! The unexpected sucking sensation on her thighs caused Chiyue to snap open her eyes. When she saw Su Yang's lips on her thigh, her face exploded with redness, nearly losing conscience from shock. However, despite his shameless and seemingly vulgar actions, Chiyue did not kick him away and allowed him to continue. Her breathing quickened and her eyes flickered with desire-lust. Meanwhile, Su Yang was fully focused on extracting the poison through the tiny hole in her thigh. His robes were soaked in sweat, and his body burned from the poison he absorbed. Every part of his body was screaming in pain, and because of his low cultivation base, it only made it harder for him to subdue the poison within his body. Even if he wished, he simply wasn't in a position to enjoy the soft sensation on his lips. At this moment, the only thing that could be heard in this small and quiet room was Chiyu's heavy breathing and low moans. A few minutes felt like a few hours for the two, one embraced by pleasure and one enduring pain. When only a few seconds of the 10 minutes were left, Su Yang finally released his lips. Su Yang coughed up a mouthful of black blood. The moment his lips separated from Chiyu's soft skin, his complexion turning ashen right after. Su Yang wiped the black blood from the corner of his lips and smiled. It's been a long time since I last sweated like this during a treatment. Su Yang collapsed on the bed beside Chiyue right after his sentence, his conscience barely awake. Are you okay? Chiyue cried out loud in alarm. Luckily, the poison had yet to spread to other areas and only occupied your left leg, so I was able to extract it without any problem. But being only at the 3rd level of elementary spirit realm, the process had drained my very limited profound chi quickly. I am only tired from exhausting my profound chi. Let me sleep for a bit and I will be fine. Don't forget the conditions. Su Yang fell asleep after those words, dumbfounding Chiyue. She didn't know what to do, but since he said that he would be fine, she felt relieved. After taking a moment to organize herself, Chiyue helped Su Yang by adjusting his awkward sleeping position and covered him with a blanket before quietly leaving. It was already the next morning. By the time Su Yang woke up, he sat up and looked at the blanket covering him. How caring of her, he smiled. Although he had expected that it would be somewhat troublesome to heal Chiyue, he did not expect that it would have been that challenging with his low cultivation base. I really need to increase my cultivation base, but before I obtain that pure spirit yang and cleanse the impurities within my body, I need to get used to this body and its insignificant cultivation base. Su Yang left the bed to take a quick shower. Afterward, he sat back on his bed in the lotus position. Deep within his mind, countless cultivation techniques he had learned from his previous life appeared one by one. Su Yang wasn't just a playboy in his previous life. He was also a cultivator and a doctor, so he has many resources at his disposal. Celestial body refining scripture, one of the 7 heavenly sublime scripture, obtained from the heavenly emperor's treasury. In his previous life, Su Yang wasn't able to cultivate this celestial body refining scripture because he had obtained it too late and had already refined his body. Not only did I steal his daughter's body and heart, but I also obtained his favorite cultivation technique. If the heavenly emperor is still alive, I should avoid him at all costs. He closed his eyes, and he began reciting the celestial body refining scripture within his head. Consume the universe, refine the body, achieve an immortal physique. The celestial body. The celestial body refining scripture was a technique that cultivated one's body, their physique, and one's cultivation. In order to achieve the celestial body, he must consume things with profound qi, and refine it as his own, tempering his cultivation base and body simultaneously. There were two primary paths of training to become an immortal. The first was in qi refining profound qi. The majority of those who trained to become an immortal chose this path. This path allowed one to use many powerful techniques, control gravity, soar in the sky, and even change the weather. In other words, it was a profound and glamorous path. The other path was in body refining one's physical body. It is said that body refining is at least a few dozen times more difficult than qi refining, where one has to endure unimaginable pain and torture their own body until it breaks for little result. However, enduring such a torture would allow them to move mountains with bare hands, change terrains, even poke holes in stars with mere fingers. Ordinarily, one would choose either qi refining or body refining, never both due to the unimaginable amount of time it would consume to train in both. The celestial body refining scripture, however, allowed one to cultivate in both qi refining and body refining sententiously, a heaven-defying technique. Suddenly, Su Yang's body began turning red, looking as though he was being roasted in a fire. His body temperature reached nearly 150 Celsius within minutes, and a burning smell began emitting from underneath him. He was burning the bed with his body temperature alone. Su Yang was using the 3 seasons snake's poison he had contained within his body to temper his body, something he had decided to do after seeing Qi Yue. Even if he does not have a partner for dual cultivations, there are many other ways to cultivate. While it is not as pleasurable as dual cultivation, where he can enjoy the embrace of another, this method of cultivation is still exercised upon by the majority of the world, and is even more beneficial than dual cultivation in most scenarios. After half an hour, a refreshing feeling suddenly exploded inside Su Yang's body, cooling his burning body. He had a breakthrough, reaching the 4th level of elementary spirit realm in cultivation and the early stage of elementary spirit body refiner, simultaneously. Immediately after washing himself, Su Yang traveled back to the training grounds, where many disciples had started their training long ago. That Su Yang is back. He's really persistent with this scheme of his. What happened with those two who dared to follow him? Have they reported him yet? Ah, haven't you heard? Not only were those two extremely satisfied, but they are also helping him by spreading high praises of his services. What? For them to act like loyal dogs trying to impress their master. What on earth did Su Yang do to them? Who knows, but when I saw Zhou Xuan last night, her face was full of smiles. She looked as though she was recently reborn. Hey, look over there. This disciple greets Elder Lan. The disciples greeted the beautiful woman approaching them from a distance, and walking beside her was a cute little girl with smooth skin that made her face much brighter. Senior apprentice brother Su. It was Qi Yue, and she approached him with a bright smile on her face. With the way you are running, I can assume that your legs have already healed, right? Qi Yue nodded. Yes, thanks to senior apprentice brother Su and his wonderful treatment, the pain did not appear last night, and I was able to sleep peacefully for the first time in a long time. That's good to hear. Su Yang showed her a gentle smile filled with care, causing Qi Yue to blush. Hey, the image of Su Yang sucking her thighs yesterday abruptly appeared in Qi Yu's mind. Even the sensation of his lips could be recalled very clearly, almost like it was engraved deeply within her heart. You are the one who treated her yesterday, the beautiful woman who looked to be in her 20s asked the moment she arrived in front of them. Yes, the beautiful woman, who was addressed as Elder Lan by the disciples, frowned at his calm demeanor. Su Yang, 16 years old. You have been in the sect for nearly an entire year as an outer court disciple, yet you still have no partner. Not to mention all the rumors about you being a retard and a good-for-nothing. How did you do it? This brat wouldn't tell me how you treated her no matter how much I asked. And Su Yang's calm demeanor remained the same despite her threatening gaze that seemed to want to swallow him whole. And he continued, "What does that have anything to do with me? Why, you an arrogant brat who doesn't know how to respect his seniors." Sister Lan, stop. Chiyu's startled cry halted Elder Lan's movement, who was seconds away from slapping Su Yang in the face without restraint. Elder Lan suppressed the anger in her stomach and took a deep breath. "Chiyue, are you sure that a stinking brat like him had healed your leg when even a seasoned doctor such as myself couldn't tell what was wrong with you?" Su Yang chucked when Elder Lan addressed herself as a seasoned doctor, which caused her glare at him. She had a feeling that he was laughing at her. "Sister Lan, we didn't come here today to offend senior apprentice brother Su. We came here for his help," Chiyue said to her in a worried tone, sounding like an elder sister. Elder Lan snorted coldly. "What can a brat who isn't even half my age like him do? There is nothing an arrogant brat like him can do to help me." "You are absolutely right. There is nothing I can do to help you relieve the sharp pain in your buttocks when sitting down. Go find someone else who is more experienced. Someone at least twice your age." Elder Lan's eyebrows twitched uncontrollably at Su Yang's sarcastic words. Senior apprentice brother Su is the real deal. He was able to tell that you are hurt with a single glance. You have to allow him to help you. Chiyu's innocent words were like sharp swords stabbing Elder Lan's heart. Although she didn't want to admit it, Su Yang's insight definitely surprised her in more than one way. "Even if she believes in you, I will never trust you. Let's go, Chiyue." Elder Lan turned around and dragged Chiyue away with her. The disciples there wondered what their relationship was. They looked like sisters, but everybody there was well aware that Elder Lan has no siblings. "Sister Lan, you have been in great pain for the past few days because of your injury, even missing out on your daily cultivation. If this goes on, don't worry about me, Chiyue. I will find a way to treat myself without the help of that Su Yang. He is only an outer court disciples whilst I am a sect elder. After all, I will lose all face if I lower myself and ask him for help." Chiyue sighed at her stubbornness. She has known Elder Lan since she was a baby because their families had connections with each other. Although they are not real sisters, they treat each other as though they are siblings. "Sister Lan, this is why you are still single. You are too prideful, and you are already 40 years old. At this rate, you will die as a single woman." Chiyu's words nearly caused Elder Lan to cough up a mouthful of blood. "You little brat, you are still too young to have a partner, let alone talk about mine. I'll have you address me as Elder Lan for the rest of the week." But no buts. "I am Elder Lan to you for the rest of the week." Chiyue sighed. She turned her head to look at Su Yang, who was still standing there quietly and calmly. Senior apprentice brother Su, her face reddened at the sight of his face.